Unless you have a lot of energy, like you've been doing this for a lot of years, and I see you still. You look like that same 30-year-old that I saw on those retro videos.
What drives me is that I think about my mother raising 7 children she didn't give birth to. I feel that when I wake up, it's the best day of my life, and I say to people, if you don't believe it, try missing one.
What do you think is more important, being hungry or being courageous?
And sometimes we have to have someone, and this is the kind of leader that you are, someone that can take you to a place in yourself, Albert, that you can't go by yourself.
When you don't feel 100%, maybe you feel 10% or 50%. What do you do when you have some big commitment that you have to be there, and just before it, something happens and you're not feeling all that well? Is there like a trick or something that you do in your mind?
There is no trick. You step up. And most people don't have a mentor. Most people don't have a coach. Most people find themselves in a toxic, negative environment.
You know what I learned from you that I've been following very, very strictly is only allowing quality people in my life.
Life is like an elevator. Sometimes you have to stop and let some people off.
Who do you find out who's not a quality person, and what's the nicest way, or is there a nice way to kind of tell them, hey, you know what, you're not OQP?
And when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. Either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. And the question becomes, whose pace have you adjusted to?
Right, thank you for being Driven channel again, and I'm here with a special guest, Les. I known you for 5 years from afar. Right, I met you at a conference, and then I've been following you all along. Like I have a lot of mutual friends, and a lot of my friends have had you on their stage. So to me, I'll tell you, speaking from the heart, what I wanted was I wanted to have Les Brown at the Driven stage. This is the 5th year we have this conference, this event. And I never wanted to go back and be like, hey, you know what? I never had the opportunity to have Les Brown, the legend, on our stage. So just like you, I grew up with a lot of things against me. I wasn't I was on special ed too. Then they figured out he's not special ed. He's more like he doesn't speak the language, because my first language was Spanish. So then they put me on ESL class, and I couldn't speak English, and I learned English at on the first grade. But I want to start with just Les. Thank you for being on my show, and thank you for blessing me with this opportunity. And if you could just, for people that might not know who you are, most people know who you are, but who is Les Brown, and how did you get from that little kid, Les Brown, the twin, to get to where you are today, and all the things that that have happened to you? You haven't denied them; you defied them.
I was hungry. Yes. Well, when you're born and raised in a culture that is designed to deny you, to demonize you, to dismiss you, to oppress you, that you can't just say to yourself, just think positive and be enthusiastic and everything is going to work out all right.
Yeah.
That people that break through are the people that are driven, the people that are hungry, and they hold themselves to a higher standard. There's something that drives their behavior where they refuse to be denied. I just connected with my friends. I'm going to be sending you a video that I'd like for you to play before I come up. And the reason is because this is a time in and out of the pandemic that people literally have to be driven, because there's so many layers of obstacles and things to stop people, not only the fear that most people have, and the economy has changed, and we're in a new world, and we have to develop new skills. But the people that can, in spite of all of those things, that can have laser focus on their goals, and being willing to discipline their minds to go after those goals, to be consistent, to be relentless, to find a way to win, are the individuals that will come out on top, just like what you had to do to build your company. And now it's now more important than ever before, because the stakes are higher, the
Yeah.
challenges are higher. And as soon as we try and relax and think that we can take a deep breath of relief, something else happens.
Yeah.
And so we have to be constantly engaged in the process of being at the top of our game, of working for ways to take the experience that we create for our customers, the goals that we want to achieve in our business, our internal customers, our external customers, and just holding ourselves accountable to a higher standard for what we want to create for ourselves and for our family and for the communities that we live in.
Yeah, and Les, you have a lot of energy. Like you've been doing this for a lot of years, and I see you still. You look like that same 30-year-old that I saw on those retro videos, and you're always smiling. You know, you're always laughing and smiling. Does that give you energy, or what's that secret that allows you at your age, even with cancer, that you've been kicking cancer's ass for 30 plus years? Like, how do you get that energy? How do you get it?
Because I think that what drives me most is that I learned from my adopted mothers. You know, I'm adopted,
Yeah.
and I was a foster kid and then adopted, just connected with my birth parents' family. But what drives me is that I think about my mother raising 7 children she didn't give birth to. She only had a third grade education. But people as a kid, they called me Mamie's boy. And I used to close out my speeches by saying, "This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy." I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, "All that I am and all that I hope to be, I owe to my mother." And my mother was relentless. She was unstoppable. And so life is challenging. But to me, when I wake up in the morning, there's a word that I wake up to: all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And so I feel that when I wake up, it's a it's the best day of my life. And I say to people, if you don't believe it, try missing one. And people who laugh often, they live longer,
Yeah.
because having a spirit of optimism and a feeling that in spite of what happens to you, there's a guy named Elsie Robinson. He said, things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. And we control that. And so I look at my life and I ask myself the question, what is it that I'm to learn from this? And take ownership, take responsibility,
Yeah.
and decide that I'm going to turn this disadvantage to my advantage, and not allow it to subdue me, not allow it to handicap me, and continuously look for ways in which I can get out on top.
Awesome. Unless one thing that separates you from every other speaker, for most speakers, because I'm not going to say all of them, but you don't speak to sell something or because you have this thing you're going to sell. You really care about your speech because you want to penetrate the audience. And one thing that you talk a lot about is distract, dispute, and inspire. Can you talk about what that means?
Yes, how people live their lives as a result of the story they believe about themselves. I train speakers, and what I say to them, Albert, is that when you speak, your goal is to distract a person from their story, what psychologists call their self-explanatory style, distract, dispute, and sharing things that you've experienced, that you've gone through. You dismantle their current belief system because you have gotten on the other side and they are where you once were.
Yeah.
And as a result, you distract, dispute, and inspire them. You conjure up in them the hunger and the thirst and the courage to make a new decision, to reinvent themselves, and to go after their goals with a sense of fierceness.
What do you think is more important, being hungry or being courageous, or are there or do both make you even more powerful?
I think that hunger is a combination of being courageous. It's not
Okay.
the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act in spite of the fear. And it's
Yeah.
a combination of being focused. The primary reason that I think that people fail in life is not because of fear, as most people believe. I think it's because of distractions, that
Hmm.
we're living in a world where they have algorithms that know more about us than what we know about ourselves. And
Yeah.
so to be able to harness your mindset and your thoughts and hold the vision and see your goal accomplished and go after it in spite of the rejections, in spite of the setbacks, in spite of the failures, in spite of the things that happen to you and things that happen to people that you care about. Because at the end of the day, studies indicate that every year, all of us are going to go through an experience. Something tragic is going to happen to us personally or to someone that we care about. And so to be able to roll with the punches, to regather, to restart, to regauge, and to refire that hunger in our gut that
Yeah.
I refuse to be denied is major.
Yeah, and there's people that wake up and they complain because they're not $1 million. Like they don't, they're not a millionaire. They don't have, or they don't have 500,000, or they don't have millions. But you mentioned something important about that you are very grateful every time you wake up, and so in your eyes, why do people wake up and instead of going out and working, fulfilling their dreams, instead of complaining about not having X amount of money? Why aren't they thankful of waking up and they do something about it?
When you live in a culture where you've been denied again and again and again, and your head has been uh, beating up against a wall and you can't break through, you begin to surrender. It's human nature. We're human. And there's a book called Learned Optimism, and we learn how to become negative. We learn how to give up and throw in the towel on ourselves. Dr. Martin Silliman, who wrote this book, and he talked about the fact that we have to relearn how to be optimistic, relearn how to think and hold the vision and see it completed in our minds. All accomplishments happen twice, first in the mind and then in the without. And sometimes we have to have someone, and this is the kind of leader that you are, someone that can take you to a place in yourself, Albert, that you can't go by yourself. That this person that you now see, I didn't always see him, but a friend of mine named Mike Williams, who's been my mentor, he saw this Les Brown. And sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. And most people don't have a mentor. Most people don't have a coach. Most people find themselves in a toxic, negative environment,
Yeah.
and they surrender to that. They accept the life that has been delivered to them, as opposed to saying to themselves, this is not it for me. I want more.
Yeah.
And I'm hungry for it, and I'm going to make it happen.
You know what I learned from you that I've been following very strictly is only allowing quality people in my life, and deleting people that are not quality. And I'm not saying they're not good enough. I'm saying they're a little bit toxic, and I just don't want to be around bad energy. Is that something that's very important?
Absolutely. When you're people around people whose energy is not in the same place where you are, and you're going up, life is like an elevator. Sometimes you have to stop and let some people off. you know, the Academy Award winner Sidney Poitier said, when you go for a walk with someone, something happens without being spoken. Either you adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. And the question becomes, whose pace have you adjusted to? We're earned within $2,000 to $3,000 of our closest friends. One goose can fly 40% further in formation with other geese than it can ever fly by itself. So we have to practice OQP, only quality people. Look at the people in our lives and ask the question at different points, what is this relationship doing to me? Am I growing mentally and emotionally and professionally and financially and spiritually? Am I becoming a better person because of this relationship? A better husband, a better father? What is it doing to me? Because people rub off on you. So you want to put yourself in a community, just like what you're doing, a community of driven people, iron sharpening iron, that have goals and dreams that they're reaching for. Socrates said, a man's reaches to supersede his grasp, or what are the heavens for?
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And Les, we have people that we have to deal with at work, at home, even family, friends. Uh, Family, in my opinion, sometimes is the worst. But I want to hear from you. You're the expert, but it, all these people all over, employees, and partners. uh, How do you find out who's not supposed? Who do you find out who's not a quality person, and what's the nicest way, or is there a nice way to kind of tell them, hey, you know what, you're not OQP. How do you tell somebody that in a nice way?
You know, it's I had the experience of going to a seminar, and the guy said after this 3-day seminar, he said, I'm going to ask you a question, all of you. And if you can't say yes to it, break your pencil and leave the seminar and forget about going into business. So I'm asking myself, what is he going to ask? And he asked the question, if your mother worked for the company and she became toxic, she became a liability, she was creating problems, could you fire her? And I'm thinking to myself, can I put her in another position? Can I, fire my mama? And that was a challenging question. And I didn't answer it, but that was an answer. And so I had to fire my best friend.
Yeah.
And it was tough. And life is full of tough decisions. If you do what is easy, give yourself a pass. Just ignore what you know. Your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy.
Mm.
And so, what you want to do is be diplomatic. Listen, I love you. I appreciate what and who you've been in my life. And we've come this far together. But at this point, as I look at myself and look at the business, I want to help you transition into doing something that's you, because what I'm looking for now, that you don't have that. And so I want to help you get into a place where you have, you're getting what you need, and I'm able to get what I need from the person that I'm going to put in this position, because all relationships are like three-dimensional, some in a life for a reason, some for a season, and some for a lifetime. And we cried. And I
Yeah.
said, boo, this is it. And and then I helped him to get another job.
Got it. And Les, you're a legend. Again, like that's very, very obvious. And to become who you are today, like when was your start in speaking and being a contribution to humankind, And to get to where you are today from back then, did you ever have to upgrade maybe your mentors, your relationships, people, or are you still with the same people that you started with?
No, I'm not with the same people, but I am with the same mentor. I've been doing this for 52 years. And my mentor, his name is Mike Williams. I wrote the foreword for his book, and it's called The Road to Your Best Stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's a very good book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. And fortunately, you never want to have a mentor who does not have a mentor. He's always growing. He's always
Yeah.
developing and stretching and challenging himself. And so we've been together for a very long time. Even now, I'm learning new things from him. And I believe you're never too old to learn and you're never too young to teach.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, but the people who started out with me, no, they're not here now. You outgrow people and you got to keep
you
going.
you had a few stops in the elevator.
Yes.
Yeah. So Les, your mentor, I get that your mentor is younger than you.
No, he's old. He's 2 years older than I
Okay.
am.
Okay. And
But he's still growing. He's a bad dude. He's brilliant. Mike Williams.
I'm gonna get his book.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get his book. And then to finalize this, Les, you talk about mentors see something in you that you don't see in yourself. That happened to me. Like a mentor gave me an idea, and then that led to bigger ideas, and then I got newer mentors. But moving from that, I know uh, you had a challenge recently, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you got type 2 diabetes, and you also been battling like cancer for over 30 years. You've been kicking its ass, but you're still moving, and you keep moving. Has that affected in any way or slowed you down in any way from what you're doing, or what does that do? Do you use that? Is that motivation for you?
It's fired me up because I feel like a 35-year-old trapped in a 77-year-old body.
Yeah,
And I
crazy.
know that the journey that I have left is much shorter than the journey that got me here. So at 77, I'm hungrier because my goal is to finish strong. I'm a grave robber. Uh, Miles Monroe, who was a great minister out of the Bahamas, he said, rob the cemetery of your talents, of your dreams, of your abilities, of your gifts. And so to me, that life is about growing. It was Robert Schuller who said, you want to better your best. Success is never ending. And so I believe at 77, I still have more in me. There's still more that I can do. And I believe in live full and
Yeah,
die empty.
yeah. You believe in luck at all, or no?
I believe that when you commit yourself, when you are consistent, when you get the training, when you get the help, when you hold the vision and you're relentless in pursuit of what you are going after, that life yields to you. I believe in angels. I've had people to open doors for me that I didn't know, people who believed in me. I remember when I sent a letter to Gunther Ranker, who paid millions of dollars to promote Tony Robbins around the world as a motivational speaker. And I asked them to promote me. And they said, well, you got a very inspiring story, but you're Black. And we don't believe America is ready for a Black motivational speaker. So I send them a letter back saying, thank you for reminding me that I'm Black. I'll see you from the top. And so I knew that I would have to be able to be so good in what I do that
Yeah,
I could not be ignored because I don't have the complexion of connection. I have the complexion of rejection. And so therefore, I have to hold myself to a higher standard at
yeah.
whatever I go after.
Awesome, Les. And one last thing, you sometimes, because me, I sometimes don't feel 100%. I'm sure you don't feel 100% sometimes. When you don't feel 100%, maybe you feel 10% or 50%. what do you do when you have some big commitment that you have to be there, and just before it something happens and you're not feeling all that well? Is there like a trick or something that you do in your
There is
mind?
no trick. You step up.
You step
And
up.
I, case in point,
Yeah. Awesome,
just
Les.
before our interview,
Yeah.
I got a call.
Yeah.
My granddaughter had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
They said it's born with Down syndrome. They said that yesterday, and today they said, and he's blind. And I had to find the strength within to come on and talk to you. I had to say to myself, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And we're going to love him. He's alive. He's here. And we are ready for the journey. He's a blessing to us. We named him Matthew. Matthew means gift from God. And so we thank him. We thank God for Matthew. And we're ready for the opportunity to help him master this thing called life and be a contribution to the world.
Les, I'm really grateful to have you on this and the inspiration you do. Like, if there's anybody that could help your grandson and anybody, it's you. So like I know that you're gonna do a great job at it, the best job anybody can do, and God put you in the place to be there for your grandson. So, and just like you've been an inspiration and motivation to everybody in this world, so I'm really thankful. I'm gonna send all my energy that I have, positive energy, to your grandson, and I'm sure that that he's gonna be hungry, and he's in good hands. And once again, thank you for everything you've done for the world, Les. Really thankful for you, love you, and appreciate you.
Love and appreciate you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak for you and stay hungry.
Yeah, thank you, Les. I'll see you at Driven.